The fully automatic submachine gun is another short-range weapon that comes into its own in close-quarter combat. But fire one on full auto, and it's harder to keep it on target as you have to wrestle the recoil and fight the muzzle climb. This is Blackwater Headquarters, the world's largest small arms training facility. And I'm about to try out a radical new submachine gun design. There's a new weapon coming to the world of close-quarter battle. It's named after the Indonesian sword that cuts down its enemies. In the past, some submachine guns were simply known as spray and pray. Shooting them on full auto was not so much a tactical maneuver, more like an act of faith. Even though this prototype fires the massive .45 caliber pistol round, this is one gun that doesn't need divine intervention.
Really, there's been no dramatic shift or change in the firing mechanism of a weapon in nearly 100 years. The low recoil mechanism that we have right now is unlike anything that you've ever fired and that I've ever seen, to be honest. With the mechanism that we have, we figured if we can make it in .45, we can prove to the world that the .45 round can be tamed. And it has been. And it's come in the form of the kriss.
The kriss's unique design allows this prototype to fire the .45 caliber round. The last submachine gun to be this innovative was the Thompson submachine gun, or Tommy gun, of the 1920s. But the problem with using a round this big in a submachine gun is that it tends to kick like a mule. What sets the kriss apart is its revolutionary operating mechanism called the Super V, one of the single biggest innovations in automatic weapons design for more than a century. To find out more, I talked to Tim Lindsay, head of engineering and technology.
Conventional weapons are great, but they've always had a drawback in terms of controllability with respect to muzzle climb and recoil, felt recoil. The benefits of changing those features gives the operator an opportunity to put that round on target more quickly, more accuracy, more lethality on the target faster.
How does it actually work in reducing recoil?
The Super V technology works by re-vectoring the recoil forces that are generated when the round is fired.
Unlike previous guns where the recoil is directed straight back into the shoulder, the Super V mechanism directs the shot downwards and away from the shooter, vastly increasing accuracy.
What that does is reduce the muzzle climb and also reduces the axial recoil forces that are typically felt in a conventional weapon with an axial recoil mechanism.
When you're talking about axial recoil force, you're just talking about the energy being driven straight back into your shoulder.
Exactly, the energy that's coming back into your shoulder.
Get rid of the muzzle climb, and it's easier to put shot after shot right where you want it. Even if you increase the size of the round you're using, that can only mean one thing. The bigger the round, the bigger the knockdown power. Now we've got bigger rounds in a small, accurate gun that's just begging for a future weapons test. So what are we trying to set up here with our little demonstration?
Okay, we'd like to demonstrate between the knockdown power between a 9mm caliber and a .45 caliber. We have brought the H&K MP5, beautiful gun.
Yeah. And pretty much everybody that does room clearance uses this weapon.
Yes, I do.
We're going to fire one round, see what happens to the target downrange, and then we're going to take a look at the kriss and see what the kriss does.
Oh, yeah.
All right, awesome. First round?
First round.
Nothing happened. Now, it's time to see what the kriss does. That pretty much says it all, doesn't it?
One shot, one kill.
That's exactly what you're looking for. One shot, guy's down. Drop, just like that.
And we haven't even put this on full auto yet.
No, we haven't.
There's no question about the stopping power of the 45, but most guns firing these big rounds on full auto might struggle to keep them all on target. The Kriss is different.
And there you have it. That's what's beautiful about the Kriss. It's a 45 caliber machine gun where you can put all of your rounds right on target because there's such little recoil. And he goes down.
The question is, how does all this extra stopping power translate to a real-world scenario?
This is Hollywood Bob, the ballistics dummy. He's my good friend. Decided to hang out in the car while I take some shots. We want to see the penetration of the 45 caliber through the door into Bob. Between you and me, get a closer look at Bob. He looks a little suspicious. I told him to stop. He wouldn't stop. You can clearly see, look at those. Good sized holes right there. And we go in to visit Bob on the inside, and 2 rounds came right through, right over here. Boom, boom, right there. The round penetrated all the way through, right here. So boom, 2 45 rounds, went through a door, and then went through Bob. What we're gonna do now is just have a little fun and see what happens to the car and Bob when we empty a whole mag in him.
On full auto, the Kriss can achieve an incredible rate of fire, up to 1,500 rounds a minute. And remember, those are big rounds.
We know that the 9mm is effective. However, in the middle of a situation, when the adrenaline's pumping, sometimes it doesn't knock the person down. It might stun them, but they're still able to pull the trigger. They're still standing upright. The 45, it's like the difference between throwing a baseball at him and throwing a medicine ball. It's gonna knock him down.
If you're a terrorist in a CQB situation, the Kriss is one weapon you don't want to cross.